Hey folks, thanks so much for joining me here on Wave Now. I'm Myra and sorry. So over the last couple of weeks, you've been hearing us talk about several neuro issues, and that's because Norton Neuroscience Institute's Neuro Expo is coming up. So today, we are really excited to focus on one specific topic, and that is multiple sclerosis. About 2.8 million people worldwide live with multiple sclerosis. So I'm really excited to have with us Dr. David Robertson. He is a neurologist with Norton Neuroscience Institute. Thank you so much for chatting with us today.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So tell us a little bit about multiple sclerosis. A lot of people just hear it as MS because it's such a big word, but what is multiple sclerosis?
Yep. So multiple sclerosis is an immune system disorder where the immune system kind of learns a bad habit and it causes inflammation in and around the brain and the spinal cord. Unfortunately, it mostly affects young adults. So it's diagnosed most often in adults ages 20 to age 40.
We've heard a lot of celebrities recently who've been diagnosed with MS, and maybe it's brought a lot of attention to it. But how do folks get diagnosed with MS? How do you know if you have MS?
Yep. So sometimes multiple sclerosis really declares itself pretty clearly, pretty easily, in a fairly dramatic fashion. Other times it can be really tricky to diagnose, and it takes due diligence on the part of a neurologist. So sometimes somebody might have blindness in an eye, paralysis of an arm, or double vision, and that, of course, gets medical attention pretty quickly. Again, other times it's a bit more subtle, just some odd things are happening to somebody who's otherwise pretty healthy. The main way we diagnose multiple sclerosis is with an MRI scan. So people need MRIs of the brain, MRIs of the spinal cord. And a neurologist puts together the story, the exam, and the data, the MRIs, to come to a conclusion of multiple sclerosis.
So signs and symptoms, you touched a little bit on them, but what are some warning signs that people should know about?
Yeah, so all of us humans experience symptoms. So I try to offload the stress, because if we all start to Google our own symptoms, any of us could convince ourselves we have multiple sclerosis. What we need to worry about is more significant, more dramatic symptoms, more severe symptoms. So MS usually declares itself with a relapse or an attack. And really that's something that starts new. It persists and progresses over 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours. So although it might start subtly, with hand numbness, the next day that arm might be weak and heavy. And by the next day, people really realize that they have a significant problem. But MS, since it affects the brain, the spinal cord, and our brains are our realities, MS can cause almost any symptom out there.
So for MS, is there like a magic medication I can take? Is there a cure, or is it something that you end up living with for the rest of your life?
Yep, so there is not a cure. It is a chronic illness. So once somebody is diagnosed, this is part of their story for the rest of their lives. I do refer to MS as a marathon. So once you're diagnosed, there's a lot of life left ahead of somebody. So we're trying to make today really good, but also we're trying to use treatments to make the next season, and then our older years really good as well. As far as a specific medication, there's no one-size-fits-all treatment to any individual with multiple sclerosis. We actually have lots of treatments nowadays that we didn't have just a few years ago.
Can you talk to me a little bit about some of the options you provide for your patients?
Yep, so the options come in a lot of different flavors. I was actually kind of adding it up. There's 12, 13, even 14 different mechanisms to treat multiple sclerosis today. It didn't exist, when I finished training in the early 2000s. Patients get some choice in the medications that they go on. The doctors, of course, kind of emphasize what we like to use for multiple sclerosis, but the options include home injections, options include pills, and the options also include infusions, kind of like a chemotherapy type regimen for multiple sclerosis.
Talk to me about the Neuro Expo. That is coming up. It's right around the corner. I want to share a graphic with folks. It's Saturday, October 11th, 9 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. It's taking place at Louisville Marriott East. And this is a great way for folks to learn more about neuro issues. And if they have more questions about multiple sclerosis, this is a really great way to learn about it, and it's free for the community.
Correct. You plugged it really well.
I've had some practice now.
Yeah, so I'm a speaker, but we also have outside speakers. Dr. Zabetti from University of Cincinnati, Dr. Eicher is coming in, and they are also talking about some other treatments we don't usually utilize all that often. So stem cell therapies or a new medication that might get FDA approval in the upcoming year. So there's some new things coming out, and plus I'm going to talk about fatigue and multiple sclerosis.
So what do you experience with fatigue and multiple sclerosis? Is it just out of the, I think, as you said, we can all think, I feel like I'm always tired, but is fatigue with MS different?
Yep. So I think you said it, we all experience fatigue. Fatigue is a universal human experience at some point in our lives. So everybody has experienced it. I will validate our patients with multiple sclerosis that fatigue and MS is just significantly worse. It's significantly more often. It's much more disabling. In fact, 60, 70, 80% of people with MS experience fatigue on a regular basis. And in 60% of people, even with the cognitive and physical disabilities that MS can cause, 60% say that's their worst symptom that they deal with. So yes, we all experience fatigue when we're up with a kid that's sick, when we're on call late at night, or when we travel to wherever. But the patients with multiple sclerosis do experience fatigue on a much more frequent and a much worse basis.
I know at the Norton Neuroscience Institute, so much of our brain, is connected to how we live, right? How much physical activity plays in our lives, how we're eating, that sort of thing. But what do you all do at the Norton Neuroscience Institute that kind of takes that patient a step further in achieving some better lifestyle skills?
Yep. So good question. I'll probably just use fatigue is on my mind right now, getting ready for this talk. As I talk to patients about fatigue, some of the best treatments aren't medications. Some of the best treatments are mindfulness, psychological services, nutrition, exercise. And the good part about my current role within Norton Neuroscience is I can mention that to patients, but then I can also offer, or the Norton Neuroscience Institute can offer, direct access to the things that very few people in really the country and other programs can offer. So when we're talking about mindfulness, we have Dr. Davis, we have a psychologist, we have a LCSW that can do counseling. When I talk about nutrition, we have Bethany Farmer, we have a nutritionist that can work on anti-inflammatory diets, or at least just tweaking your diet to get the best health possible. And that can have impact in fatigue. And then the classes that the Norton Neuroscience Institute offers on essentially a weekly basis, they offer Tai Chi, yoga. There are pool exercises that are free to the public that are connected to Norton Neuroscience. So not only are the doctors and clinicians saying, hey, go do these things, but NNI offers direct and often free access to get the best outcome possible.
I think, Dr. Robertson, when you say these things like sleep better, eat better, exercise more, those are common sense things. But really, as a society in our culture here, we are go, 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 go. And even the basic things like, we eat fast food because we don't have time to sit down and eat a proper meal. We have sedentary jobs, or, we are working so much and our plate is so full that we're not getting enough sleep. But sometimes these things that just sound like, relatively manageable expectations, they're hard because of how we're conditioned.
True. And although we're on social media right now, social media, our phones probably aren't serving our brain health in super excellent ways. So sometimes having a shut-off switch, or at least learning how to shut things off, is really important, and it's really hard to do in our current world.
Oh, I agree 100%. I always talk about how I took certain things off of my phone because I realized I am just wasting my time. I could be up walking around. I could be having a conversation with somebody just because I'm glued to my phone. But it has an impact on our overall health, for sure.
It does. And my kids love hearing it from me.
Same here. Same here. I totally feel you there. What's the future for treatments for folks? We have advanced quite a bit, but is the future looking bright for folks?
Yeah, so I think our past science, our past investment in brain health, especially coming out of the 1990s, early 2000s, has resulted in really effective treatments that we have currently. As Dr. Eicher on Saturday will talk about, there is a new medication possibly getting FDA approval. I think right now we are seeing such dramatic impacts with our current therapies on reducing physical disabilities, cognitive disabilities. We're making a huge impact. I don't know about the future because some of our funding came in the past, and science, some of this funding may not really advance us significantly further in the next 10 years. After that, we'll wait and see what happens.
What I didn't know, an interesting thing about the Norton Neuroscience Institute, I know you all have a fabulous team of physicians and health practitioners there, but you all are the one of the largest MS centers in the region. That's remarkable and something to really be proud about.
Yeah, so I joined a talented group of 3 physicians, 2 nurse practitioners, and where I came from, my nurse practitioner came with me. So yeah, not to compare to other cities, but I think we sort of have a large group of talented physicians, nurse practitioners, and all the extra services that our patients need within the Norton Neuroscience Institute.
We have a viewer named Nikesha Blaine joining us on Facebook right now, and she wants to say, hi, Dr. Robertson. Just wanted to get your hello over to him. So I'm happy that people are watching us right now. But again, this is something that with so many people living with MS, Dr. Robertson, the Neuro Expo, which is coming up on Saturday, this is a great way for folks to get that free information and learn more. This is something that just not only impacts the patient, but the people around them as well. Can you give me some more information on where folks can they'll hear from you? They're going to be hearing about rehab development and that sort of thing as well at the expo?
Correct. So I'm trying to picture the agenda in my mind. Dr. Zabetti from Cincinnati is talking about cell therapies, which is bone marrow transplant or stem cell therapies. I'm presenting on fatigue. Later in the day, we have our physical therapist over with women's and children's, really pushing activity, exercise, and play, I believe, as a therapy. And then Tracy Eicher coming in from Dayton, Ohio, will talk about a new class of medications, again, that may get some approval from the FDA in the next year or two. And I think there's a lot of question and answer. There are non-MS topics as well at the expo. I don't know all the details in the other rooms because we will probably have the most fun room, I'm sure. And then really the benefit of these is hopefully as speakers will limit our lectures and really just open it up to conversation and questions, because I think that's where the community benefits the most at an event like that.
Absolutely. I'm going to read another comment that McKenna Byerly, I apologize if I'm saying your name incorrectly, but she says, thank you for all the work Norton Neuroscience Institute and Dr. Robertson do for patients in our community. So you can see a lot of gratitude in our community for the work that you all done. The big takeaway, Dr. Robertson, that I'm getting away from this conversation is that MS is a marathon. It's not a sprint. It's something that you need a team of people to help you through.
Absolutely. Again, most people are diagnosed between the ages of 20 and 40. I just did a little talk on age and multiple sclerosis, and very soon we will have more patients over the age of 60 with MS than under. That's because our patients with MS are surviving. They're doing very well into their later years. And so to help people the whole marathon, to maximize today's function and also tomorrow's function, it does take a village. Wellness matters, psychological wellness matters, physical wellness matters, our nutrition matters. If people look on the Norton Neuroscience page, you'll see the calendar of all of the events that are offered. Some are in person, like art therapy, music therapy. Others are actually offered online. So I think Tai Chi, yoga is kind of offered in a social media format. So it's really neat to be part of a group which recognizes that it takes a village rather than just a single clinician or physician.
Absolutely. Dr. Robertson, I appreciate your time today. Again, the Norton Neuroscience Expo is coming up Saturday, October 11th, 9 to 3:30 p.m. A number of neuro issues are going to be discussed at this. If you've been joining me over the last couple of weeks, we've talked about all the different things. I suffer from migraines, so it's always great to hear how you can get help if you suffer from migraines. And as we mentioned, MS. So there's a number of things. Alzheimer's. I mean, the list is long. A lot of opportunity to learn from the experts here in our community. In this link, I have linked you all to Norton Neuroscience Institute's website, where you can learn more about the things that they offer. You can learn more about the expo that's happening. They do ask that you go online and register, just so they have an idea of a head count, but it's going to be a great event. They've done it for a couple of years now. Dr. Robertson, is there anything that I'm not asking you today that you want our folks to know?
That's a good question. I don't know that I have anything lingering. I do encourage patients to advocate for themselves. So if you're in with a clinician, you should have your questions answered or at least addressed. So patients and families need to advocate for themselves really throughout healthcare right now. So I guess I would emphasize that patients should have their questions at least addressed as thoroughly as possible. So advocate for yourself.
That is great advice. Dr. Robertson, thank you so much for all that you do. I appreciate you.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
I'm Myra Ansari, and I will see you later here on Wave.